Alright, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, I would love to welcome back none other than the legendary multi-platinum Young Bleed. We got him right here, right now on the line. How you doing this evening?
Pretty good, man. With a bunch of y'all stuff, like y'all making it on that end.
Man, I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing pretty good. We're just trying to fight off this COVID-19 thing going on, man. Our Prime Minister wants to toss us actually into stage 3, which I think is pretty dumb, but, you know.
Man, yeah, I don't know what to say about that, man. I've been observing, of course, and like everybody else, man. I come cross country on the spot dates, you know what I mean, with the no limit tour, and in between, I had a few spot dates between Cincinnati and Kentucky, and got stuck in Kentucky due to everything, and they shut down state lines. So that shut down the rest of my shows. Hopefully something open up for the year. We was aiming at going back to Georgia next Saturday, but it looked like they shutting Georgia down, so I'm waiting to get that call, man. So I'm playing it by ear.
Hey man, hopefully it opens back up soon. And everything as it gets cleared up, man, so you can get back on the road, start making some tour money.
Absolutely. Yeah, man, no doubt.
But I do want to say quickly before I jump right into this, man. I do want to say welcome back to Outlaw Radio, man. You know it's been roughly about a year actually. You came on in August of last year, so I just want to say, man, thank you again for coming back on the radio station.
Oh, I appreciate y'all having me back, man. It couldn't have been a better time, man. Despite the quarantine and the COVID, you know, I'm still busy, man. I'm still running the label, Trap Dough Entertainment, releasing artists. So we've been loud dog, man, keeping this chemistry going, man, in the process. But yeah, I appreciate you having me back, man.
Hey man, and you know what? I actually did more digging, and I found some fresh new questions that we haven't talked about. I'm gonna start it off right back in '95, man. You actually joined forces with CeeLo and Javon and Chris Hamilton to form the hip hop group. I have to ask you. Can you tell us a bit more about that group and the story about the formation?
Okay. Um, Yeah, man, the evolution of that, you know, it go way back from me as a kid before Loke. I would meet C-Loke somewhere when I was 11, 12 years old in middle school. And he became local town, a middle school DJ, man. He used to be my DJ by the name of Ace as a kid. So we shared that rap dream together. And would naturally separate going toward high school and all that, and our later teenage years. And to get back together somewhere around 93, 94 in our hood and I realized he was still doing, pursuing the rap thing. I was already, on the radio, selling tapes on the corner, pursuing the solo career and building with guys that was up and coming. And long story short, somewhere within that evolution, he started working on that Who's Gonna Ride album, the first CeeLo solo album, as well as whatever that would follow with. Then, a lot of us started coming under the umbrella. So I put on the table that we need a clickation name that solidifies all of us. And at the time, you had the East Coast on the East Coast, you had the boot camp clique with Buckshots and those guys, and you also had a boot camp clique out there in New Orleans with Mystical and Big Boy, Big Boy Records, before Cash Money, No Limit thing came through. So what we decided to come up with in Baton Rouge was a clique called the Concentration Camp, and I pretty much coined it, and for my life evolution, my whole name Bleed for my granddaddy being called Good Bleed. He was a World War II veteran. He was in that war, and I was actually born on D-Day on June 6th. So my nickname before I have a name to the world, when my mother was pregnant, my granddaddy, come back home, of course it was years later in the 70s, compared to the 40s. When my mother got pregnant, I'm the first grandkid and so on and so forth. He said her stomach looked like one of those army tanks that was in World War II. So he said if she had a little boy, that's what his nickname would be. So my name been Tank before I was born on D-Day. So I took all that, combined that. I studied stuff like the diary of Anne Frank since a kid, and I learned the Holocaust and so on and so forth. So I started to come with those titles and that umbrella that fit the bill on the label CeeLo Records with the company, you know what I mean? And then we formulated the click under that umbrella and eventually into No Limit and so on and so forth. It did.
And if you don't mind me asking, I know it's been quite a bit of number of years, but do you think down the road you guys might get together for like a reunion concert or a reunion record?
It's something behind the scenes I've been working on for past the last 20 years. But the discrepancy is that, me and Locust kind of like the Easy E Ice Cube thing. you know what I mean, or Ruthless, and you know what I mean, Cube, and the breakup of NWA, and I studied that to formulate a click, to learn, you know, the mistakes of other people, you know, when we was displayed. And of course, you know, with the master link on the chain, I was one of the not, you know, I won't say I'm the only guy, but I was one of the main guys that fought to keep us together. You know, it was my evolution for the vision for what I wanted the camp to be in years to come, and to provide outlets and openings for all of us as solo artists and as groups. Then we'll still come back and do a quick album. But it's something I've been working on. So to this day, I'm glad you mentioned. Shout out to Jay Vaughn. Jay Vaughn been my, you know, my baby boy since I met him about 15. But I've been running with Max Manelli since he was about 11. Then later on had the Perez between 16 and 17. And they really had a group together called Laylo. It was three rappers. Happy used to be a rapper at the time, but when I came around, he felt like that was all the rapping we need. He'll back up and be more of a producer. And shouts out him to this day, producing for Miguel and Baby Bash. He went off to superstardom and, you know, Grammy nominees and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's something on behind the scenes that I've been trying to calculate, and Max got together within the last couple of years, and we kind of broke apart again. So right now, where it stands, me and CeeLo don't necessarily see eye to eye. Me and Max is off and on, and I talk to Happy sometime. I know it's kind of like the main three elements of the elite time, and Lucky Knuckles, rest in peace to Brown Nitty. But everybody else is alive and well doing their own thing. So it's something that I'm still trying to conjure, and hopefully the remaining members I want to do a record called Return to the Concentration Camp, kind of the ghosted figure, like being one of those Jews going back and recanting those ghosts and trying to do that. So that's something that I'm working on personally. But in the meanwhile, you know, after that, I progress for a new label called Detention Home Entertainment, and eventually Trapdoor Entertainment. But it's the birthplace of the Corleone family, which is my personal family clique, as well as the Corleone gang. So, you know, I just kept evolving from that, and hopefully if everybody else come to terms, we can sit down and talk like men and get back to the business, you know?
And also, speaking of another label as well, in the year 2005, you actually joined Sibo's West Coast Mafia Records. I have to ask you, how did you get connected with Sibo, and what was it like actually working on the West Coast with him?
Oh, okay, man. Well, naturally, like anybody else, you know, shout out to Big Bro, the OG, and I was a Sibo fan like everybody else. But what was the chance of a million rappers that was in the game? You know what I mean? You have good direction and people you want to aim and work at. You know what I mean? For his wish factor. But one day I was doing some studio work. My manager, Uncle Paul at the time, come to me with a Murder Dog magazine. And it was right when they was making one of the Thug Lord albums. Shout out to Yuck Mouth as well. Those are my brothers in life now. So, you know, small world getting smaller, but long story short, they had a picture back to back, and whatever in the conversation, Bo mentioned maybe 3 or 4 rappers that he wanted to work with. And keep in mind, he was doing some jail time. So he said when he come home, that was his aim. So when my name was in that catalyst, so I was like, oh, wow. So I told my manager, man, reach out to Bo Peep and tell Bo I'm open to that, man, and let's connect. And before I know it, within a week or two or something like that, I did a phone call with Bo on a 3-way penitentiary call. You know, shout out to him and his girl, which he did the call and put us together. And he gave me the okay to become a part of West Coast Mafia. And naturally, we did like a co-op situation where I still own my label, he on West Coast Mafia. So we did a 50-50 deal based on 2 records. And the first record was from Erna to Capo, what it was, Young Bleed, Rise to the Ranks from Erna to Capo, Volume 1. And that was 2005. And in 2007, I come back and do another record called Once Upon a Time in America. But I went out to Cali and, you know, sealed the deal before Bo come home, and the day of his release, my record was just hitting California and mastering, so that was my gift to him when he come home, and we've been big bro, little bro ever since, you know.
And I have to ask you, do you have any more future plans with Sibo, or was that just back in the day, and you guys kind of just went your separate ways?
But when I tell you big bro, little bro, I just talked to Bo about 2 days ago, so we always call, check on each other. If he got action on his side of the table, he always include me, and vice versa. So like I say, from day one, A1, man. So I just say this, Rakim is my favorite lyrical rapper of all time. Then it's a plethora that trickle down. I can't put it in the top 5. You know, I got a lot of favorites in all coasts. But what I tell Bo is, physically, you my favorite rapper because he moved to the South with me. He lived in Dallas with me for years. We lived 5-7 minutes up the street from each other, so like a school something to eat. Sometimes he'll cook for me, real mob shit. So I love Bo as a big brother, and he'll make sure I had everything I needed. And that overlooked a lot of guys for me. When we talk in North California, I didn't know his Louisiana roots at the time. So he shared a lot of his history and come down there with me personally. Ride or die, got it out the mud with me, made sure I stayed alive. So to this day, beyond the rap shit, you know. Yeah, shouts out Big Bro, West Coast Mafia, Seabo. You know what I mean? Back to AWOL records for a long time. So when I say on the dime, he called me out to the phone right now, vice versa. So I appreciate that. Yeah, man.
And also in 2008, you actually released a collaboration album with Freeze called Off the Curb. I have to ask you, how did you get connected with Freeze, and what was it like working with him?
The same, that Southern connection. I started going back and forth to Dallas, dealing with a lot of people. And what I recognized, a lot of the ball players, shout out to Victor Pittman from the Cowboys, Reggie Swinton, was the type of guy that was putting independent money in my pocket and keeping me fluctuating between those independent times, as well as my guy D from Big Weight Entertainment was the name of the company that Freeze was birthed on. So with them recognizing I was right down the street, they from Monroe, Louisiana, we'd do a lot of back and forth between Tree, Port Monroe, Ruston on in between where Grambling University is located. And just happened to connect with the guy D. I can't even call D last name. I always call DD, but we've been friends for years. As a matter of fact, I want to say free my man D. He trying to come back home on one of them charges. I don't want to go forward to details. But he's been fighting that for years and locked in the penitentiary. So he just gave me consent on that record. I hadn't talked to Freeze in maybe a year or so, but we all friends and family. But they spent good money with me to help birth Freeze's first solo album. He's a tremendous artist out of Louisiana, but just hadn't had the break I had. So a lot of up and coming artists and CEOs, they'll see that. A lot of people in Louisiana call me what they used to call Lil Walter, the jump off boy. You know what I mean? I know how to jump off records. So a lot of people come to kind of help grow and develop artists, up and coming artists, especially in our section of the globe. So me and Freeze came good friends. We did the record Off the Curb, DN up in the lit police trouble, and been in the penitentiary since then. So, but like I say, just as last year, he called me from the pen and told me to take that record and revitalize it and put it out on Trapdoor Entertainment. So in the next month or so, that should be up, if not before the month is out. But yeah, friends and family.
And also, aside from your music tip of things, you actually co-wrote the book, The My King of Young Bleeds Preserved. I have to ask you, how did that come to be? And also, of course, what made you decide to actually write a book?
Oh man, shouts out to my friend and family, Saul Baker, man, way from out the West Coast. For people that's not familiar with Saul's the guy that made, when he started doing his series of hip hop books. I think it started off being called I'm the White Guy. And I want to say Jay-Z was his first book, then Tech Nine, The Game, Glasses Malone, and I became the fifth guy that he offered the situation to. So when I, later on, I went on out to Kansas and did the same kind of co-op deal with Strange Records, that I did with West Coast Mafia within my break time. But a lot of the remnants of priority have become the staff at Strange. So shout out to Dave Weiner, which is the vice president over there. I'm going to spend the day with my man since the day I went to California when I first signed with Priority. So we 18, 20-year relationships, you know what I mean? So I was in that past time, and he had a situation. I hadn't necessarily not knew Tech Nine or Travis, but we became good friends and family. But Dave got me over there. Son was one of the guys who was over there from the old Priority days as well. He shouts out to RBC. You know what I mean? Rob and Brian. So all those guys was in the building when I got there. So Son pulled me to the side and asked me, did I ever think about writing a book? And I was saying, yeah, you know what I mean? Before the structure is different than song. And I understand why a writer sometimes go duck out in the cabin in the woods or off a lake somewhere and disappear for a month. But you have to have that free time without the distraction. If you straight writing word for word, page for page. When I sat with Son said, well, it's a new method to the madness pretty much. And he called me in the room and said, what we'll do is just record it on the tape like an interview, and I'll show you how to chop an interview if you're interested in that. So while I was making that album Preserved at the time, what we initially ended up doing was putting together an 18-chapter preface book about each one of those songs, you know what I mean, called The Making of Preserve. So that's the first time I sat and did a book and learned the easier way than sitting there and just, really having to find the time to separate your head is here one day, tomorrow you're on another
we're still on the topic of a book, I also noticed today on Facebook that someone tagged you in a post about them actually creating a cover for a comic book. Can you tell us a bit more about the Young Bleed comic book and what can our listeners expect from that?
Well, actually, that's who I'm mentioning out there in Colorado. My big brother Ben Vargas. You know, Ben Vargas is a tattoo artist, low rider king, and all that type of thing. You know, Spanish Mexican community, man. You know what I mean? It's the side of the family. So that's I'm glad you started, but that's exactly what I'm going into. But my essence go back to, you know, I come up listening to Parliament and Funkadelic records, and I always love when Bootsy Collins put the glasses inside, you know what I mean, the paper glass inside the cover, or they cover was pretty much a comic book, or you had the writing on the inside. So I always wanted to do something like that. I want to say the first guy that beat me into it in the rap game was Outkast with the ATLians album. So I always admired that, and the fan and friends of Outkast as well as the Goody Mob. Um, I just talked to Yuck Moth recently. I think he's going to release a comic book. So I always been trying to find the right artist or somebody to bring that to life for me and slide that in the album as well. So it's something I'm looking into. Whether we connect that to the record, the next record or not, we'll see how it transpires. But yeah, that's something I always wanted to do since Parliament records, man. Yeah.
And also, before we get off on the writing type of things, I also read that you actually have wrote your own screenplays as well. What made you decide to get into writing screenplays, and were any of those screenplays actually turned into a feature film?
Yeah, I'm working on a movie right now, man. Between us, it's called Sweet Child of Mine. I've been writing for some years. I'm in a few B-level films. Shout out to my friends Dustin Wade and them out there in Indiana, Chuck the Workflow. And I had the opportunity to be in a movie that's going to come out hopefully for the years out called Cocaine and Wildwood. So, you know, one thing leads to the next. What I had to go back into my essence and recognize that ever since I was a kid, I had to learn, despite a rapper, screenplay, or however you want to call it, at the centerpiece of it, I'm a writer. You see what I'm saying? A true writer. So ever since I was a kid, I learned what to do on rainy days. Instead of being in the house frustrated, I was in the Alpha Carmen before I was 10 years old when the Baton Rouge Little Theater in Baton Rouge. So my penmanship had been reaching our state's capital since 9 years old. So I learned that a lot of that talent was in the house, you know what I mean, poets and songwriters alike, but I'm the one that would incorporate it for my bloodline. So I recognized a long time ago I could write plays, I could write books, I could write movies, anything, but the rap thing became my ultimate vice. You know what I mean? To launch it off. So what I'm doing is kind of backpedaling and going to get the rest of my writing skills now that I have outlets for them. So it's something I've been doing since a child. Yeah, man.
And also, in the year 2010, your song "How You Do That" was actually featured on Snoop Dogg Presents My Number One Priority. If you don't mind me asking, how does it feel knowing to be recognized by a West Coast legend like Snoop Dogg?
Well, you know, Snoop recognized me a long time ago when I come to 97, 98. Man, Snoop got an unreleased record. When Snoop moved to Baton Rouge, he had to come to No Limit for a while, so it go way back. You know what I mean? To that for me. You know, I got a couple of records with Daz. I got a record with Trey B. You know, rest in peace to Lil Badass. You know what I mean? Me and Corrupt is Cool, Race, the whole dog pound, Shade Shite, Silky Fan out there. So I love that coming through in the 90s. I was only about 22, 23 years old. You know what I mean? That's been that long ago, about 23 years now, since I started going out there. You know, of course, Snoop always been the man in that sense. So his love and his extended hand from California all the way back to Louisiana, I always admired, appreciated, and respected Snoop from that. But, you know, lately I'm trying to get to the GNN. I started a conversation with him and Bootsy. I always speak highly of me before, you know, for people like yourself on the thirsty public. Yeah, I'm still waiting to release the unreleased Snoop Dogg and Young Bleed song or do something new. So yeah, this been in the make for a long time. But here again, shout out Snoop Dogg. I appreciate it.
And the one thing I do have to ask as well before we leave the Snoop Dogg topic, like you said, you've had many countless memories with the Dog Father. If you don't mind me asking, what's one of your most fondest memories of just being side by side with Snoop?
Um, Let me see which one to explain to you. The most near, dear, and up close one-on-one me and Snoop had is we were meeting H-Town. You know, he tried to get everyone there in California, but you know, had some mishaps and we couldn't get the day I was recording. You know, we did the Keenan Ivory Wayans show. The day I was supposed to meet Snoop, but we didn't get to meet each other. But it'll be this grand show that Master P do months later in H-Town in the Summit, you know what I mean? And even when Snoop officially became No Limit. So that was the first time we was able to get backstage and kind of talk, and he let me know what was set in stone and what he was getting ready to do for us being in Louisiana. So when he come out there, I was actually on my way to Atlanta that day and was frustrated because the tickets and all that wasn't taken care of. So I had a headache. I was finna call the evening, and I get a call by my manager say, "Hey, man, listen to this message." It was, Dog saying, "Hey, man, I'm in the studio tonight, you know what I mean? I'm in your area, man. Come through. I want to get you on my joint." So I said, "Okay, well, hell with the other trip. We ain't gonna go back and forth about the tickets. Let's go straight to the studio and record with Dog." So that's what I did. I beat Dog to the studio. He come there, niggas all love. And for a minute, he said, "Man, let's go down and, you know what I mean, let's go blow us one." He said, "Bleed, your record hadn't left my navigator since it came out." So he said, "You think I'm lying?" I said, "Nah, I believe that." So I believe he had like 100-disc chamber or something in the truck, with Snoop being from the Crip side. He had a burgundy navigator, alligator teeth or something like that. So he take me to the ride and whoop out some of that good for me and say, roll this up. I said, "Look, man, I can roll, but I ain't the Snoop Dogg, man. You about to roll it quicker than me." He said, "We can't just pimp it like this here." I said, "Well, I probably can't outroll you." So he rolled and we put one of them things in there, joked and laughed about some good things, and we went upstairs and worked on a song called Family Values. Now keep in mind at the time Snoop was calling himself Snoop Dogg Corleone. So it went right with my young bleed Corleone. So we connected as brothers, you know what I mean, smoked some of that good. I hung around that night, and like I said, I was already headache to the third power. They went out to a party. Shots out, free my brother C Murder, free Mac. Everybody was free at this time. Soulja Slim was alive. That was the one night I met Soulja Slim and never saw him again in life. So that's how fast, all that happened within a day. But that's the day I recorded with Snoop. So that's my most epic time with him.
Sounds like one hell of a great time, man. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. In my hometown, you wouldn't get to see it. Snoop Dogg in Baton Rouge, that was unheard of. So he come to me like a real man, and he stretched his arm hard and his hands out to me, man, and made sure he made me a part of what he was doing best he could. So, yeah, again, much love and respect to Snoop for that.
And also, you were featured on the legendary Spice One's The 100. I have to ask you, how did you get connected with Spice One, and what was it like working with him?
Well, the funny thing about the whole gambit is this. When I started coming to Cali, like anybody else, it was my desire and honor to meet Pac before Pac passed. I started going to California in 1997, and I got family ties. My mom used to keep me out of it young because of the gang bang and killing and all that. She didn't want me caught up in. But when I turned to a man past 21 and had the record deal, I had to be out there, and I started going on my own, of course, with the camp and No Limit. But when I got out there, it was 3 months after the death of Big. You see what I'm saying? Big, what happened to Big took place in March 97. 3 months after that, I was standing right around the corner at Priority. So I'm right in the middle of that. I'm extremely paranoid, maintaining my composure. I didn't smoke or drink when I first used to go out there just to keep focused. But I run smack dab into Daz. Shouts out to Bessie Boat was my publicist at Priority. So she'll always take me to make sure I met Ice Cube. I met Daz. And when I went to meet Daz, before the Outlaw was there. So I never forget this. When they greeted me, they said, "Man, where you been?" So I looked at them like, "Man, I don't know y'all. Like, what you mean?" You know what I mean? It's 50 Crip. But it was all love, and they embraced me and pulled me into their circle. And everything of Pop kind of circled around me. Later, I'll meet Spice One, and we still like that to this day. Yuck Mouth, you know what I mean? Too Sharp was one of the first guys, way before those guys. So that whole Oakland gambit into L.A., I was stuck right into it. I pulled right into it and accepted into it. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot coming there at that fast of a pace, man. But yeah, I know a lot of those guys in the same rappers are rest in peace to Pimp. But all they kind of left behind in one sense, I kind of inherited. You know what I mean? I walk right into those circles and not to feel no void of nobody's shoes. I'm the same Gemini like a Pac. That's how deep I studied. But when you ask me, I'm asking myself. So that became my family, an extended family to this day. So when you talk of Spice, our first record we have is on, what record is that? My Living album. I did a album after the Seabo album, a solo album called Young Bleed Living, and me and Spice and Yuck Mouth, shouts out to Don Bishop. Kansas City area, man, that produced the track that he knew all of us individually, and he put us all on the record of Verse of Peace. And it coincided so much, and when it came time to put it out, I don't know what his situation was, but he ended up giving me that record. So I got the approval from Spice and Yup to push the record out. When I put it out, Spice put it out on one of his albums too. I forget, maybe the Howler, not Howler Game SC40 I'm thinking about, but Game of Thrones, I want to say that record is on. And then eventually we would do another way. I want to say the second record is the 100 record, but that's two records I want to side and did with Spice if I'm not missing one. But from that, it's a phone call. You know, they need me on stuff and they call me and vice versa. You know, I listen like the conductor in the orchestra. If I need a trumpet player and I know Spice is the best trumpet player, I'm at least trying to reach out to him. Yup could do vocals, Steve-O could do this. And I listen, you know what I mean, to voices like instruments. So around enough of that, and then a music connoisseur, I can kind of measure what voice texture should go with a song. For whatever reason that don't happen, I'm always making the incentive to reach out to that perfect person or instrument to fill that void. And that's how I met and connected with a lot of these guys and vice versa. When they need that by me, I show up or go up. So leave it in the family.
And the one thing I do want to say when you brought up Daz Dillinger a few times, I want to address this publicly because I got to say he does not get enough credit than what he is due, man. He is one of, in my personal opinion, one of the best producers out on the West Coast, man. He helped give birth to a lot of real hip hop projects, and I just want to air that out there that he really deserves a hell of a lot more credit than what he is getting.
I mean, some of people's favorite songs, the Rider song, the Baby Making song, Daz was probably the producer, especially when you're talking Pac and Dog Pound and Snoop records. You know, being stuck in the Dre in that sense. You know, I studied the game. I'm still a student to the game. I always admired Daz. Now, what I don't have is a Daz track. We got a few records, but I always told him I need one of them Daz beats, man. You know, so Daz to this day is retarded with the beats. But the records I had, the last record we did, the first record we did is on my own record. My second solo, I was still on Pro Art. The only two guest appearances I had outside of the camp was Daz and Too Short, you know what I mean? So that was a whole dynamic versus the No Limit record before. A lot of people had questions, but it wasn't of that origin at all. It was just those guys working with me at the time, you know what I mean? But the first record is called A Hustler. We sampled Curtis Mayfield before he passed away, had a connection with him, and he cleared that for us. I was supposed to hear that Atlanta and sit down with Mr. Curtis Mayfield before he passed away. You know, Superfly being one of my favorite movies, the original Superfly, I like the new one. But I come from the 70s, so I'm old Superfly lineage to that soundtrack. That's one of my favorite movies and one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Long before Snooper do the Doggy Style, I took a lot to Snooper. It was kind of that Superfly Mac feel. My granddaddy ran with Rudy Ray Moore, which is Dolomite for those that don't know. So all that was in my essence, you know what I mean? So to see it, I took to it like a fish to water. But here again, God bless the dead, Mr. Curtis Mayfield cleared that sample for us. The first song I ever did with Daz. Daz actually flew to Baton Rouge by itself and recorded with me for a weekend and went on back to California. So years later, when I did here again, the Living album, it's so OG started, Big Mike, you know what I mean? Spice One is on that record. And then Daz got a song called So Gangster. And that particular record, it was a close enough, and it's a producer, shouts out to Terrence Fleming and Diamond Dog out in the Detroit area that had some beats around. So I used to tell Daz, man, with the Daz Dillinger in the game, you need to take some Charlie Brown and run some Peanuts game music with that shit and flip it, you know what I mean? And I happen to have a piano ballad which is the Soul Gangster on the Living album. So when I heard that immediately, I said, I need Daz on this record. And I hadn't talked to Daz maybe a year or two at that time, but they definitely sensed the record, and off and on we'll tap into each other. But long story short, I called Daz, man. It looked like when I called Daz said he was getting off a plane or something, you know what I mean? Coming back home, whatever he was doing. When I tell you, it looked like I got that song back in 20, 30 minutes. I had to recant what's going on with technology. I said, no, he just said y'all for plane. How did he record this and send this back to me that fast? Well, I appreciate Daz, man. Anybody ain't got a chance. Everything is available on YouTube and all the social media sites, but check out that Soul Gangster and the piano ballad. And more kind of, I did that, and that effort to coincide him. I ride the wave for something I have been telling him for years to give it that Charlie Brown kind of sound. So that's the closest I got to a Daz track, but I got a couple of records by my man man, and he always stand up for me if I call.
So I gotta ask you, Young Bleed, what is next for you? Is there anything I happened to miss during this interview? Anything else you would like to promote while we still have you here live on the radio station?
Absolutely, man. Precious last month, I own a label nowadays called Trapdoor Entertainment. For those that's not up on it, my last record today came out last June. I'm working on a new solo and several projects as we speak and different other things. But recent as June, I'm saying my last record today is called Water Life. So if y'all not up on that, Water Life consists of Freeway Reach, Chairman Fred of the Black Panthers, Trey D, Sally Seal. You see what I'm saying? A lot of my rudiments is more West Coast guys than anybody. So a lot of people think I'm from California, but that's the love I done got from the West from top to bottom. But and still to this day, I'm trying to think of who I'm missing on that record. I might have went over a few names, but it's OGs like that that's on that record. But that's the Water Life album I put out last June. It's available. Just recent as June 6th, my son released an EP, his first rap EP, Taji Ramon, released The Kraken. Now, anybody that's familiar with Taji, his first love is R&B, so he done put out several R&B EPs on the label. You know what I mean? Let me see what I'm missing. And yeah, he just did the EP release on June 6th, which was my birthday. On June 30th, we released my first group single called The Younger Gang. The song is called Monsters. You know what I mean? So I'm working, man. Everybody's staying busy. I'm trying to say something else to you and really get you this website is what I'm trying to do before you get out of here. But basically that, we just pushing, man. Everybody's working as they turn in their records, man. I'm pitching it out to the public, going back to the single game, and once everybody catches on it, we'll release these albums. So, but just keeping up with the workload, man, one day at a time. Give me 1 second. I'm looking at this as we speak. I had to switch to my website a couple of times. Okay, here we are right now. So, yeah, for everybody listening, man, y'all can tap in on www.trapdoorent.com, and you can find all the latest, all those records, you know what I mean, the possible tour dates that we can get past the quarantine, but everything that's Trapdoor Entertainment from the audio visual is right there, merchandise, the whole nine. So, yeah, tap in with your guy, by me.
And so, Young Bleed, this is the time in the interview that I give a chance for the individual that comes on the radio station. Just a chance to give shoutouts to whomever you want to give shoutouts to. And if you can, drop them social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and everything that is coming out. You know what I mean? If you can, drop them social media handles.
Absolutely. Well, shout out to the whole world, man. Everybody stay safe, stay masked up, man. You know what I mean? Stay out the handcuffs of these people for everything that's going on. I don't want to do Black Lives Matter, but all lives matter. So I'm going to say it like this. Much love, respect, success, and God bless. As far as my social media plateaus, man, you can tap in with me anytime on the Young Bleed fan page, on Facebook, on Twitter, it's at Real Young Bleed. And on Instagram, it's at The Real Young Bleed. THE, no slang words, everything straight out. Everything else is www.trapdoorent.com. You heard?
And also, one thing that I actually totally forgot before we actually end this, I also heard that you have your own radio show as well. Before we end this, would you be able to let our listeners know where they can actually listen to your radio show?
Thank you, sir. I'm glad you brought that up. I would have got it across the head if I didn't. But yeah, shouts out to my man High Risk and his lady Southern Belle out there in the Houston area, H-Town to be exact. But they've been running a podcast station for about the last 7 years now called Banging 832 Radio. And in time, at the end of last year, they made me a partner, you know what I mean, a co-host. And they give me like a 5-6 series, trial run. And the people took to me, they took to me. So every Tuesday and Thursday night, East Coast time is 7 to 8. Down South Central is 6 to 7. So every Tuesday night, we do like New Music Tuesday, where I bring in a whole lot of up-and-coming underground legend artists and other artists that just getting started. And on Thursday nights, we do Throwback Thursday, where I bring, a series of the OGs. I have a, different OG every Thursday night on that. So far, Big Mike, Cujo, Goody, Yuck Mouth, you know what I mean? Guys like that came through Scoop from Rap a lot. So rather it's, from a political mass, a community mass, or just in the rap game, yeah, I keep it young and keep it old, man, and bridge that gap every week.
And I want to say, Bleed, again, thank you so much for coming back on the radio station for a second interview, man. The past year we actually spoke off and on and whatnot, man. I want to say I grew up listening to your music, man. So just being able to speak with you on the record and off the record is an absolute honor. Good luck with your radio show. I'm looking forward to your comic books and, of
Yeah, man.
course, some new Young Bleed music when it gets released.
Absolutely, man. Y'all stay close to me, man. I'm gonna do the same. I appreciate you much, bro. And to the next one, have a blessed one. You hear me?
You already know, brother. Have yourself a wonderful night and stay safe out there. We shall talk soon.
Okay, you too, family. Much love.
Much love, brother.